Yeah, so I'll message Vel and Brody and say, all right, so when are you guys good to leave? I think we've got a job here.
I'm always ready to.
I think I'm good for now.
All right, we already determined the cargo here is pretty much not worth buying, so I'll message them back and say, yep, we're good to leave whenever you are.
Yeah, he sends a message back, replying to that. He says, "I'll be there in an hour. Where do you park your ship?"
I'll give them the dock number.
All right. Yeah, a little less than an hour later, he shows up with everything packed and ready to. Right. Yeah, he travels alone. He has probably 2 suitcases. If you want to investigate, you can do that. But otherwise, he gets on board, stows his gear, and yeah, he walks over to the bridge. No one stops him to talk with whoever is in charge of flying the damn crate.
That would be me.
Yeah, he sits down on one of the empty chairs on the bridge, and he says, "Right, I have," and he pulls out a data slate. Says, "I have the coordinates here for you." And where should I transfer them to? He doesn't seem to be too familiar with the ship system in general.
I just have him send him. I'll put him in.
Yeah, he swipes right on the home pad, and you get the string of navigational data that you need to just input in the nav computer. And yeah, as the computer takes a hot second to do the calculations and plot the optimal course, see that it's X406 that you're going to for this.
How much cargo was it? Because I was.
Or what?
How much cargo total are we taking from?
0 here, and then max capacity on the once you get there.
406, correct?
Yeah.
And what's in 406? Nothing.
I mean, as far as you can tell, there's nothing. Nothing marked on the map, at least.
So we can't do a trade run. We have to basically have an empty ship. Right.
Right. So do you take off the moment he puts the boot on the deck plate, or do you hang out for a bit more? You putter off.
I think we'll take off.
I was going to say there's not much reason to hang around.
Right. So if the math isn't completely off, it is 2 days. Leave the system. 3 days, actually 1.5 days to drill space, and then 2 days flying. So
5.5 days.
yeah, 5.5 days total. Yeah, that rank 2 star captain is a game changer right there.
Yeah, no, that would have taken us what? 6 plus 2 plus 2? Yeah, it would have taken us 10 days. Half.
I'm just gonna throw it out there that I've got 20 spare parts in case you guys ever want something
By the way,
tinkered with.
Ben, do you want another weapon? Because I still have my old weapon. You can.
What type of weapon is it?
I have a mag rifle. Or I mean, I do have the. I did buy all 3 of the tier 5 weapons. If you want to use one of them, a thunder or the other one.
Yeah, Thunder Gun sounds like it'd be nice. I probably won't carry it around with me all the time, but it'll be nice just to have it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to just, I'll give that to you for now. I'm not gonna be using it at the moment. But yeah, I'll just take it off my list. You can add it to yours. It has no modifiers. I was gonna give you the mag rifle, but I might want to keep that for long range fights because it has 300 meters, 600 meters max. But if you
So
want
yeah,
to upgrade it, Brody's there. Sorry, not Brody. Yeah.
so yeah, you arrive in system after a day and a half of travel. Fantastic, right? And I think as you exit drive space, after the momentary blindness of re-entry, the sensor comes back online again, and yeah, the shutters open, and you see staring at you from the center uh, system is a bright, a very very dim, very dim light of a dark purple star casting ominous lights in the system. So it's fairly reasonable to assume that this star could not support normal life, as it's way too weak, and purple light is maybe not a very good thing to be sleeping in. But yeah, Brody, as you enter the system, the nav computer recalibrates from the sector map into the system map, and you have coordinates that basically leads you to a spot, a day from where you are right now, from where you enter. So it would be 14, late 14th rather than 15th.
Alright, guess start making our way over. What do we see in the direction of the coordinates?
So the immediate thing is you don't see anything because it's too far. But yeah, after maybe half a day of travel, when you start getting into like the very extreme range of your scanners, and you get some scanning results, things start signals start bouncing back and forth, and you start picking up things. Um, you your ship computer picks up there is roughly 100 ship in system right now in front of where you're going, or towards where you're going right
It's
now.
an illegal space race.
And you also pick up a signature on the on the map from a research outpost nearby, probably within a day's travel from where you are. And the research facility and the 100 or so ships seems to be like a decent, probably like a half a day's travel from each other, just eyeballing the distance between the two. So you have, on one hand, you have a research facility of some description, and then the other you have a large cluster of ships.
this is a space race, isn't it?
And yeah, as you're approaching, Arthur comes up to the bridge again, unless you lock the door. And,
Yeah.
yeah, he taps on the sits down again by in one of the chairs, and he starts tapping like hesitantly because he's not too familiar with the system, and maybe at some points he asks you to just tap in the damn thing yourself because he can't figure it out, and he basically asks you to bring up like just a map and zoom in on some specific things, and yeah, in the directory of contacts, he picks out, highlights two vessels, and he hails one of them, and he has a short conversation in a language that you don't know. Yeah, there is a quick, brief conversation, and yeah, he as the conversation ends and he hangs up, he says, "You can proceed to the marked area."
All right.
Yeah, and as
Was Ben on the bridge and hear any of it?
Ben, if you wanted, you could be on the bridge or wherever else you wanted. This is maybe, what did I say, like half day into the system as you left drive space.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just, for some reason, I assumed I was in there. I guess I could be in there, though. I might be in and out of the bridge on occasion. Especially if we have a guest on board.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably that too, but it's probably the most interesting place on the entire ship, just to see what the hell's going on whenever you go to a new place, you know? Because that's where you have all the like computers and such, fancy computer screens. So you really won't find out anything what's going on if you're sitting in the mess hall, you know, chewing on soggy cereals. But yeah, if you're there, Ben, you basically you hear the gist of it. They're talking in what would the language be? I think languages. How do you do it? I think they're speaking Finnish to each other
Okay.
because we haven't had one of those in a while. Yeah, so they're having a short and very polite, like formal conversation in Finnish. It's basically like they introduce themselves to each other, and say, "Hey, you know, I'm a member of the alliance. I'm, you know, coming with a new ship. We're here to exchange business." And yeah, they pass some nonsensical strings of words to each other, and then yeah, the conversation ends, and Carter says to Brody that he can proceed to the, you know, according to the path plotted. And yeah, if you look on the, if any of you look on the, especially as the ship draws closer to the cluster of ships, you see in the ship directory or of things as the computer starts picking up, you know, what everything is, and there's a lot of frigates, there's a lot of fighters, there is a lot of cruisers, there is one or two battleships as well hanging out here. And then yeah, as you basically get close enough to eyeball some of these ships, and you know, judging by the where the coordinates are leading you, Brody, as you're navigating this roiling sea of spacecrafts, it becomes more and more clear to you
Okay.
that
Sorry.
becomes more and more clear to you that the goal of your journey here is a behemoth class carrier sitting in the middle of it. And yeah, unless unless any one of you is doing anything, as you're basically coming within spitting distance, Carter once again reach out, and then he pulls up the carrier, and yeah, he heads them on the ship system. And again, it's very formal. He speaks English this time, but it's again very formal, and he basically requests permission to dock, which they grant, and then they politely, whoever is in charge of traffic control, basically politely asks you to turn on autopilot and let them guide the ship into the you know advised docking bay.
Considering the ship they're in and all the ships around us, I've got no qualms.
All right. Yeah, so you flip on autopilot and they take over the docking. They probably send a light text message or some such to as the docking procedure starts. So basically explaining, apologizing profusely for any